There is a girl on a ship. It's the tail end of the 19th century, and she's a small child from Naples, crowded on the deck of an immigrant steamer as it slides into New York Harbor. And there, rising out of the water to meet her, is the Statue of Liberty, torch lifted, crown blazing, welcoming her to a new country. The little girl never forgets that moment. Years later, back home, she'll be crushed when another girl is chosen to play Liberty in a school pageant. But she doesn't know yet what's coming. She doesn't know that one day her own face, that very profile, will become Liberty herself, struck in silver, carried in the pockets of a nation on what may be the most beautiful American coin ever made. Her name was Teresa, and this is the story of the peace dollar. To understand why this coin exists, you have to start with an act of destruction. During the First World War, under a law called the Pittman Act, the United States melted down more than 270 million silver dollars, most of them Morgan dollars, and shipped the silver overseas to a desperate wartime ally. But that same law carried a catch. Every melted dollar had to be replaced. So when the war ended, the mint was legally required to strike millions of new silver dollars from freshly mined American silver. And here a movement caught fire. The Great War had been the bloodiest conflict the world had ever seen. Millions dead, a generation shattered. As the guns fell silent, coin collectors and everyday citizens alike began to ask a powerful question. Why simply reprint the old Morgan dollar when the country could strike a coin to celebrate peace itself? A coin to mark the end of the war, to end all wars. The idea gathered momentum, and in 1921 the government agreed. There would be a new silver dollar, a peace dollar, and its design would be chosen by competition. 8 of the finest sculptors in America were invited to compete. Among them were giants, the men who had designed the Mercury dime, the Standing Liberty quarter, the Lincoln cent, and the man who beat them all was the youngest and least experienced in the room, a 34-year-old Italian immigrant named Anthony de Francisci. He had come to America as a teenager. He had designed exactly one coin before in his life, and he didn't even think much of that one. But his vision of peace won. When it came time to model liberty, de Francisci faced a problem. The competition had given him almost no time, not enough to find and hire the perfect model for the face of an American goddess. So he turned to the person closest to him. He turned to his wife, and in one of those quiet strokes of history, it turned out that Teresa was the perfect choice, because Teresa had spent her whole life dreaming of exactly this. The immigrant girl who had gazed up at the Statue of Liberty from the deck of a ship, who had lost the role of liberty in a childhood play, now became the model for liberty on the nation's money. Her husband later said the coin was not a photograph of his wife. It was a composite, an ideal, but the features, the spirit, were unmistakably hers. Teresa's childhood dream had come true in silver. De Francisci gave his liberty a crown of radiant spikes, echoing the Statue of Liberty that had welcomed both him and his wife to America. And on the reverse, he placed a bald eagle, but not the fierce, wing-spread warrior eagle of earlier coins. This eagle was at rest, perched on a mountain crag, gazing toward the rays of a rising sun, clutching an olive branch. Below it, in bold letters, a single word that no circulating American coin had ever carried before: peace. But there was almost another element to that reverse, and it nearly sank the whole design. In an early version, the eagle wasn't just holding an olive branch, it was standing over a broken sword. To de Francisci, the meaning was noble. A shattered blade meant the end of war, disarmament, swords beaten into plowshares. But when the design was described in newspapers before release, the public recoiled. A broken sword, many people felt, didn't mean peace. It meant defeat, surrender. A shattered weapon was what you handed the enemy when you lost. The backlash was swift and fierce. And so, in the final days before striking, the Mint's chief engraver, an aging George T. Morgan, the very man whose own dollar this coin was replacing, carefully removed the broken sword, extending the olive branch and strengthening the sun's rays to fill the empty space. The sword vanished, and most Americans never knew it had ever been there. Time was brutally short. The Mint was determined to strike peace dollars before the end of 1921, and de Francisci's beautiful design was rendered in high relief, The details raised dramatically up off the surface, sculptural and stunning. In the final days of December, the presses ran, but the high relief that made the coin so gorgeous also made it a nightmare to strike. The dies cracked and failed after just a fraction of their normal life. The presses couldn't bring up the full detail in a single blow. It was the same battle the Mint had fought with St. Gaudens's double eagle years before, beauty at war with the limits of the machine. Just over 1 million high-relief coins dated 1921 made it out before the year ended. They are the only peace dollars ever struck in that full original high relief, and collectors prize them for it to this day. Early in 1922, the Mint tried once more to make the high relief work, struck a small batch, and gave up. Those test pieces were ordered melted. De Francisci was called back to lower the relief, flattening his masterpiece into something the presses could actually mass produce. The soaring design was tamed. From 1922 onward, the peace dollar poured out by the millions in its lower practical form. For a while, it was one of the most popular coins in the country, but its life was strangely broken. The Mint struck peace dollars only until 1928, when the silver required by the Pittman Act finally ran out, and production simply stopped. Then, during the Great Depression, another act of Congress sent silver flowing again, and the coin returned for 2 final years, 1934 and 1935. After that, the last true American silver dollar for circulation fell silent. In an irony no one missed, many peace dollars, coins made to celebrate the end of one war, were themselves melted down for silver during the next one, the Second World War. And then there is the ghost. In 1964, decades after the series had ended, the Denver Mint struck more than 300,000 brand new peace dollars, dated 1964. But times had changed. Silver was vanishing from American coinage, and the government reversed course. Every single one of those 1964D peace dollars was ordered melted. Officially, not one survived. To this day, it is illegal to own one, and yet rumors persist quietly that a few may have walked out of the Mint in someone's pocket and still exist, hidden away, unable to ever be sold. They are among the most tantalizing phantoms in all of American coinage. So look again at that coin. The immigrant girl from the ship who became Liberty, the young unknown who beat the masters, the broken sword that almost turned a symbol of peace into a symbol of defeat, the gorgeous high relief that the machines could not sustain, and the vanished coins of 1964 that may or may not still be out there. The peace dollar was born from the wreckage of the deadliest war the world had ever known, carrying a single hopeful word, and it remains, for many collectors, the most beautiful silver dollar America ever made. A prayer for peace, struck in silver, and modeled on the face of a girl who never stopped loving the statue that welcomed her home.